The Ace Attorney spin-off series, The Great Ace Attorney, has finally been announced to be receiving a release outside of Japan. Initially released in 2015 for the Nintendo 3DS, with its sequel then following for the 3DS in 2017, it had looked like the series might never see the light of day over in the West. This is also something the channel made a video about a few years ago, taking a look at the different theories on why the game hadn't seen a Western release. However, now all of that changes, with Capcom announcing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and PC. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles is a collection of both games with extra content, and it will be released worldwide July 27th this year. While not yet released, we have seen quite an interesting change that will be made to the game for its English release, with this also revolving around one of the common fan theories over the years for what could be holding back an English release. You see, while over in Japan the game features Sherlock Holmes as one of the main characters, with him helping you solve the game's investigations, his official name in the English version is now Sherlock Sholmes. Alongside that, in Japan, Holmes is teamed up with Iris Watson, who is based on his longtime partner from the Arthur Conan Doyle stories, Dr. Watson. In English, however, Watson's name has been changed to Wilson. The reason for these changes is something that some Sherlock Holmes fans may already be quite familiar with, and that is how the Doyle estate has gained an infamous reputation for enacting legal action against others who portray the Sherlock Holmes character, with this not only being on a very frequent basis, but at times is over quite frivolous matters too. While Sherlock Holmes has been in the public domain in the UK ever since the year 2000, which is the Doyle estate's home country, in the US 10 of the original Sherlock Holmes stories are still under copyright. This won't be true for much longer though, with all stories set to enter the public domain in 2023. Until then, however, the Doyle estate appears set to continue initiating legal action against others depicting Holmes. This recently made headlines, for instance, over the Netflix movie Enola Holmes. The movie, which was released September 2020, was sued by the Doyle estate over its use of the Sherlock Holmes character. While all but the last 10 stories are now in the public domain worldwide, the Doyle estate argued that the Holmes character portrayed in the movie shared traits more comparable with his later appearances. Netflix, however, argued that the estate was unfairly attempting to prevent the fair use of characters that are, to quote, undeniably in the public domain. The lawsuit was eventually dismissed by both parties in December, with it being thought that a private financial settlement was likely involved. And yes, there have been countless examples over the years of the Doyle estate pursuing legal action like this. Back to the Great Ace Attorney, it doesn't just use the Sherlock Holmes name, but his whole character is based on Holmes in many ways. And so all of this likely caused some concern at Capcom over potential legal trouble. But there's actually also an interesting story behind the name that's been picked for Holmes' appearance in the English version. The name Sherlock Sholmes was actually first used more than 100 years ago in the Arsène Lupin novels, with this being the same Lupin that has appeared in many adaptations throughout history, such as the 2021 Netflix series titled simply Lupin, as well as the huge anime and manga franchise Lupin III. The French stories, which focused on the adventures of gentleman burglar Arsène Lupin, featured Holmes in multiple novels, but due to legal pressure from Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes had his name changed to Sherlock Sholmes in later stories. There have been many Japan-exclusive video games featuring Sherlock Holmes over the decades, and while these may not have necessarily been localized even without the potential legal issues have always been a possibility. Despite this though, Holmes has still appeared in some Japanese games released westward in recent years, and with his full name intact. This has been seen, for example, in the game Fate Grand Order, where the character Sherlock Holmes first appeared in the game's story in 2018. He would then become obtainable as a playable character the following year, and then as time has gone by, has become a big part of the game's narrative. And whilst looking a little different, he still shares many traits with the famous Arthur Conan Doyle character. And so in this case, it seems that the Western publishers weren't so concerned about any potential issues arising over enter the name. Also, this is unrelated to the Sherlock Holmes info, but there's another difference outside of Japan that you may be interested in, and this is the fact that the game appears to be completely digital only in Europe, and in the US, digital only on PS4. The game will be released physically on both Switch and PS4 in Japan and Asia though, and it has been confirmed to include full English language options. Also, as the channel is a Play Asia partner, who is the biggest import specialist in the world, if you use the link in the description and the discount code Censored at checkout, you'll be able to save 5% off every order. What are your thoughts about Sherlock Holmes' copyright issues and the Sherlock Holmes name? As always, let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and until next time, thank you for watching.